Hey, I'm Jason Harrell.
And I'm Justin Boyd.
And let's freaking do this.
Welcome to episode number 29 of Let's Freaking Do This. My name is Justin Boyd, and once again, I'm thrilled to be joined by my good friend and musician, Jason Harrell. You know, Jason, since the last time we did a podcast, you've been traveling the road, playing shows. How's it been going for you?
It's been great. It's been fun. I'm learning how tired you get from just literally just being in the van all the time.
Yeah.
So I never did that. Never did too much of this kind of travel. So it's pretty tiring, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Definitely makes you appreciate the days home, though.
Real quick, just give us a recap. Where all have you been in the past few weeks?
So we went on our first little weekend in the van jaunt thing, and we went to Amarillo and then to Fort Collins and then
Colorado, right?
Yeah, Fort Collins, Colorado, which is almost to Wyoming. My knowledge of geography is really terrible, so I didn't realize that's how far up we were going. But anyway, and then we went to this place called Wellington, Kansas, to play this it was like a movie theater that they had just they were just trying to start putting music there, bring in bands. It was this guy's birthday, and so it was fun. I mean, they treated us really well, and then we got in the van after that and came right back to Prosper, and I was exhausted, and so I slept. I don't know. I probably slept 12 hours the next night, and then we were back at it last weekend. But last weekend was closer to home. It was Burleson, and we played Burleson, DFW area, Burleson, and then Plano, and then I went and played in Mahia with Foster and Quinn, and then Driftwood with Foster and Quinn.
Well, speaking of DFW, that's where our guest tonight comes from. Jason, why don't you introduce our guest?
Hey, we have Cory Graves from the Vandoliers.
That's me.
What's up, Cory?
Hey, good. Happy to be here. How you guys doing?
The champ is here, right?
Oh, the
Hell
champ.
yeah.
Look at that.
I do.
Yeah.
Cory, I do think it's funny. Like there is a Cory Graves who works for the WWE. So you're not that person, right? Yeah.
No. It's funny. He follows me on Twitter, and I'll rag him every once in a while, and he'll respond. It's funny.
Yeah.
He's aware of us. It's funny that it's not his real name. And I DM'd him one time. I was like, why is this your fake, why is this your character's name or whatever? And he's like,
right.
I just wanted to have the last name Graves, I think was the deal. And then I'm trying to remember the story, but I wanted to have the last name Graves, and then they just gave me a list of first names and I just picked one, or they picked one for me kind of thing. It's like, I don't like it. I don't want to be this,
I mean, I could see that. You turn the whole thing into a character like you're, I don't know, like the Undertaker or something. Like he's the Undertaker's cousin. Cory Graves, the Undertaker's cousin.
Yeah. This is my character that I on the screen over here. This called El Alacran, and then he's giving you the little stinger there.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's this little finishing move.
Looks a little bit like what was it? Mankind had the sock.
Mandible claw.
The claw. Yeah.
The sock was what was
Mr.
the sock?
Socko,
Mankind,
yeah.
or was it Socko? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could
But
talk
this,
wrestling
I carried this
all day.
singlet with me on every tour. I bring this singlet with me. It's in my bag, so it has only come out a couple times, but it's always there just in case.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're still the champion, so you defended the title well. You've retained it, so very impressive.
Yeah.
Speaking of names, let's talk about the name of your band, the Vandoliers. Y'all just made up that name, right?
Yeah, that's a Josh thing. That's just he just made up a word. And
yep.
The beauty of it is every time there's a new Twitter thing that pops up or to try to take over Twitter since they're going down or whatever.
They're changing their
We're always
name.
just able to get we're always just able to get Vandoliers at everything that pops up. We don't have to be like the real Vandoliers for really it's us or music or band or whatever you add to the. I promise it's really me. We're just at Vandoliers at every new thing. So it's one way to
into all. Do you have to like go to all of them at this point? Like because of just being trying to be in all of the different social media arenas? Do you basically create accounts for everything that comes up?
I've got a lot of them that I'm doing right now, and I recycle a lot of the content, but sometimes it's like they're all a little bit different, so you can't just totally do that. And people interact different on each one too. So like, Twitter, people are kind of more assholes, so you kind of got to be an asshole on there, and they don't think you're an asshole. Like they don't hold it against you. It's just like that's just kind of the vibe of that place. So as long as you're kind of an asshole, everybody's like, "Oh, this account's great. We love it."
Yeah.
But then if you say that vile shit that you say on there on Instagram, everybody's like, "You're a terrible person." What are you trying to do? So, I've got all the apps on my phone. I'm just all day. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't go to work this week. I'm just I'm on all the apps, Blue Sky and Threads now.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I don't even know what Blue Sky is. I don't even know if I've heard of that.
It's
one.
another one of those like fake Twitter thing. Well,
Oh,
the
really?
guy that originally made Twitter,
Right.
when he sold it to Elon, just made it again, like basically just like old Twitter. But they've been testing it for like months and months and months and months. And so it's not available to the general public yet. So you have to get an invite. And so there's just like not that many people on it. And then there'll be people on like Twitter and stuff that have like 1 million followers. And on here, they've got like 200 followers. So
yeah.
I don't know.
That's kind of funny.
I haven't really gotten into the swing of that one yet, just because you'll say the funniest thing ever, what you think's the funniest thing ever. It'll be like, no interactions. You're like, well, cool. I don't feel good about myself anymore.
Well, maybe, you could maybe also get like some interactions with people who are trying to pick up engagement there, who maybe would not see you, on the bigger ones.
I have noticed that too. And like, especially Threads is, because it was hot for like a day or two, and then now it's a little bit less.
Yeah.
Where people are still getting on there. A lot of the brands and a lot of the bigger bands and stuff are on there. And whereas they have like, 1 million followers on Twitter, they'll have like 2,000 followers on Threads.
Right.
So if you tag them in something, they're like 1 million times more likely to see it. So whenever I've tagged some of the bigger accounts on there, I've gotten responses. Whereas, like I said, Twitter, you're just you're not seeing it all. Even if you want to be that band that's like, I'm going to react to every retweet we get. Every comment, I'm going to comment back just so we seem so friendly and whatever. If you get too popular, like you just physically can't respond to them all. You don't even see them all as a thing, like even if you want to. So that's been a nice thing about Threads, is that you can shoot some darts up there and more of them land for now.
Yeah. I said the other day, it occurred to me that Weezer was on Threads. And so I thought I'd be clever and say that it was going to be we could watch it unravel or whatever, but nobody, nothing.
I think I rethreaded that or whatever the terminology.
Rethreaded,
You're like, is this thing on?
Yeah, that's how I feel on the Blue Sky. I'm like, I did a tweet or whatever, and it's like, oh, literally 0 likes, 0 retweet. Like, okay, cool. I'll just go back over here for a week and check in on you later.
I'll just go fuck myself. How about that?
Yeah.
There's the Mastodon, which I actually looked at a few months ago. And
that's a great band.
But I couldn't really figure out how it was like similar to Twitter. It was very like it seemed like when you signed up for like certain categories. It wasn't like this like all encompassing kind of deal. So I gave up on that before I even started.
I think I signed up for that one, but then I forgot about it. And then the other day I was like, what was that other one I signed up for? And I was like, I don't remember what it was. So I'll have to go back and find that one because I know we have an account.
Yeah. Well, y'all are
Um,
active on all the other platforms, right? You're on
Yeah,
obviously Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, and are you on TikTok?
I was about to
We
ask
have
that.
an account. I don't do that one. That one's above my pay grade. I don't think we're kind of the right demo for that one too. So
Yeah.
it
Because
it goes neglected for a while. A lot of times.
I feel like from what I feel like I'm not on TikTok. I've seen some TikTok videos because my only ones I ever see are the ones that my brother sends me. But it seems like from what I've seen on there, it's kind of like Instagram Reels is kind of very
Yeah.
similar, right? Where it seems like the ones that really the things that really pick up steam. Like, it seems like there was a lot of effort put into those. Like
Yeah.
they edit the videos and they
Oh yeah.
they make
They're slick.
captions and yeah.
And they're so quick too. They got to grab you and then they just get in and get out. Those
Yeah.
videos are like 15, 20 seconds, but there's so
Yeah.
many edits and they're so creative too. Like
Yeah.
it's intimidating to even try to like, oh, I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah. I think Jaret from what I've heard has a huge following on TikTok. And
I could see that though. Like he's got the mind for that.
yeah, he's got that he's
Like the
pretty
personality.
he's got the personality and the vision to put those kind of silly videos and stuff together. And wherever we were at on the road the other day, we went into the convenience store and this guy says, I guess I didn't hear the first part of the conversation, but right like the towards the end of it, he's like, and I've been loving your videos on TikTok. You're killing it on TikTok. So it became a thing like, hey, aren't you Jaret Reddick from TikTok?
That's what I'm most known for. Yes.
I assume people make money off of it somehow too, right?
100%.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how though. That's beyond me. I have no idea.
Well, I've only found out this week, like on there, people can tip you like emojis, and then they're worth like pennies.
Is that
And,
like the stars on Facebook? You can do just tip them with
Oh, I didn't know
stars or
about this.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can do it on
There's like
Facebook too.
this giant list, and it's like an automobile or an ice cream cone or a cherry or like I don't know what they all are. There's like 100 of them, and most of them are like a penny, and some of them are like 4 pennies, and there's people like getting so many pennies that it's like thousands of dollars.
Yeah. That's interesting. Like, because you, as the consumer, like the person who's just scrolling through and looking at these videos, like you have to think, like, I mean, that person at some point, like, bought those credits or whatever. Like, they knew they
Yeah.
were going to be spending money on these TikTok creators, and so, like, that's their.
You get a penny. You get a penny. You
Yeah.
get a penny.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, maybe I should join. Maybe I should join TikTok.
I only found out about this like I said this week, and the videos are insane. They do these like live videos, and they're just like yes, like just icons are just flying all over the screen, and they're just like,
oh, I saw one of those too. Because the people are like the content creators are like interacting with as and you got me a star and and thanks to you, and they're just like
and they're
super
rat shit insane, yeah. And there's like bam, like bam, rattling it off, and you'll see like so and so donated 87 of these, and you're like, damn, that guy's rich. But then you look up and it's like, oh, that was 87 pennies. So like, cool, you gave her $1. High roller. That was a famous rapper.
Yeah, I don't know. It takes some kind of I don't know what kind of drugs they're on to be able to stay up like that all the time, you know?
Yeah, they have like stuff for each, emoji, and they're just rattling that shit off. Like it's kind of impressive and mesmerizing, but I don't understand it at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
the thing with TikTok is you want to create these videos. They're like they like loop, and you watch them. Like you get so stuck in what you're watching, you don't even realize you've watched it 3 times. Like it's like 30 seconds, but it's like the way it ends and the way it begins is just kind of seamless, and it just plays over and over. And it's just like with plays on Spotify or plays on YouTube, views on YouTube. Like that's how people make a living off of it somehow. It's just they have, they're creating this content for this platform that people use. So
Yeah, and people explain to me like, oh, you need to be on there and you need to get like upload your songs, and then if you use them in videos in certain ways, other people can reuse parts of your songs in their videos, and then if those go viral, it can affect you in these other ways.
Mm-hmm.
And like they keep telling you this is a positive and positive and positive thing. And then I can't think of the singer's name, but there was this guy. I mean, I listened to his record; it was really good. But he went on this tour. And he was the reason he blew up was because people were using like 7-second clips of his songs and all these TikToks that all went viral. So people only knew 7 seconds of all of his songs, and like they would like boo him like when he's playing his hit songs, but they'd just be booing the whole time. And then this like 7-second clip of the song would come up, and they'd cheer, and then like boo the rest of the song. And like that's an insane way to go to a show.
Wow.
So like I think it kind of bit, on the one hand, like the reason his show sold out was because of this 7-second clip on TikTok, but also everyone had a miserable time. So
right. I mean, like a 4-second encore, I guess, right? Like kind of in the middle, you're done, right? After your song. But I think that Cory, what you do might lend itself to like, to viral stuff. You're playing in how would you describe the Vandoliers as far as your music? Like a country rock punk band?
Yeah, we always just say like cowpunk or like which I don't really think is accurate, or like alt country, which is not quite accurate. There's nothing. I know every band says that too. I don't know what we are. We're just nothing quite sounds like us, Which that's good. If you were in a band, you're like, we sound like everyone. Like, why would you continue? But yeah, we always like to say we're a little bit punk and a little bit country. And Josh has been saying like a really funny and insightful thing at our shows lately. Like when we open up for like, Bowling for Soup or one of those people, he's like everyone when we play with these punk bands thinks that we're like a country band, and he's like, yeah. And then we'll play with like, Mike and the Moon Pies or like these Texas Red Dirt people, and he's like, all these Red Dirt people think we're a punk band. He's like, yeah. So it's like the country people think we're a punk band, and the punk bands think we're a country band, and we're somewhere in the middle, I guess.
Well, it's like your tagline on Twitter is your favorite punk band's favorite country band. That's kind of perfect, right?
Yeah.
I looked it up this weekend. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, and I was just saying, we went on a punk rock cruise last year, and we were the only like remotely country band on there. It was all just like 90s pop punk bands, and like Descendants was on there, and Face to Face, and all these bands like this, Agent Orange, and they had this Facebook group where like they announce all the bands like one by one that are coming, and like all these people they announce us, and it's just like who the fuck? Why the fuck are you putting a country band on our punk cruise? Fuck you guys, whatever, Like, this is not the right cruise for this country band. And then we play it, of course, and everyone's like, oh, fuck, yep, we fuck with this. So, I don't know. Yeah. Come see us, and I think that makes more sense when you see it in person.
I think your show is, I would just describe it as a rock and roll show. That's what it is. It's a...
Yeah, I think that's what, for sure.
We were looking it up this weekend because the whole phrase of the term, was it cowpunk, has been one that I only heard, within the last year or so. But we were looking it up, and whatever, I don't know if it was Wikipedia or whatever, but there was like this list of bands that were Wikipedia or whatever was whoever put it on Wikipedia thought that fell into the category, like Suicidal Tendencies.
As that.
What? Isn't that just punk? Right? Like,
yeah. Let's see. What was the other one? It was
the funny thing. I know I've looked at this Wikipedia, and the funny thing is, like, since no one's really doing it now, like they have it like kind of broken down by the decades. It's like cowpunk from the 70s, cowpunk from the 80s, and when you get to like the 2000s, it's just like a picture of us, and it's like, this is kind of all that's left.
Hold on, let me see. Maybe I got that wrong. Meat Puppets. Meat Puppets was one of them. Certainly...
yeah. I mean, they're pretty twangy, honestly.
Yeah. Let's see. Social Distortion.
That's quintessential kind of cowpunk, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Social Distortion, Meat Puppets, and then this other band, Jason and the Scorchers, which I had never
Oh,
really listened to.
classic fucking cowpunk. Yeah.
We
For
listened to
sure.
some of their songs this weekend because we were looking this stuff up. It's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, we played with that guy last summer in oh my gosh, where was it? Like somewhere in Europe. I can't think of where it was now.
Yeah.
Super cool guy though. Like they're great.
I
But
think
yeah, he they used to so like Dwight Yoakam back in the day, like when he was having trouble getting on bills with country bands, he would just play with like Jason and the Scorchers, bands like that. So like
yeah.
that's how he kind of got in that world. Like all these punk bands and cowpunk bands were like, yeah, this guy fucks, put him on with us. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of how he got his start. Yeah, playing with all the punk bands.
You know, we're talking about like punk bands and you know country music and the mixture of that. But what kind of makes y'all stand out to me, the Vandoliers, is you play trumpet. That's not something you see
Yeah.
a ton of, right? I mean, that's pretty unique.
Yes, fairly. You know, there's a lot of people that use it differently, I guess, than we do.
Yeah.
Like, especially in the 70s and things, there'd be these string sections and horn sections. But it's always been around a little bit. You know, you hear Johnny Cash, like Ring of Fire.
Mm.
A lot of the people use it when they want to do like kind of a Mexican influence or whatever. Like writing a tequila song, you throw it in. Which we do some of that too. And how we mix it up with me and Travis, he's our fiddle player. We do like this kind of cool harmony thing together. And I think that adds a little bit of that flair as well. And it's always funny. This happens all the time at the shows. He'll be standing right next to me and people will come up to me and say, how do you get your trumpet to sound like two trumpets? I only saw one of you up there. And I was like, one of them's a fucking fiddle. Like,
that's funny. Well, I mean,
somebody's like, what kind of pedals are you using? I didn't see any. Can you give me the names of them? I'm like, well, none. And one's a fiddle. Like it's right here.
Yeah. But they do have, they share, they share similar frequencies, they do pair well together. I think.
For sure. Yeah. And I think a lot of times in mariachi music, they'll do the trumpet on top of the fiddle.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, or a good portion of the time, we'll do the fiddle on top of the trumpet. Just kind of reverse that harmony. I don't know. It makes it a little weirder and a little more unique, I guess.
Yeah. What was it? The Cinco de Marco thing, the Bowling for Soup and Vandoliers deal. They had a little group inside there walking around doing. I don't know if you saw that.
I think so. Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember
doing
like the little mariachi band,
little mariachi stuff with a trumpet and a couple of violins. Yeah,
I mean, every Mexican restaurant you eat out in town here, like there's a little mariachi like around the table, coming to the tables, playing for tips. So, like when people are like, "Where do you get this sound from?" It's like, well, every time you go out to eat, it's prevalent around. It's Texas.
They just bring you some salsa and then play you a song. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That's probably offensive to mariachi players. Asking for salsa.
They have the coolest pants too. I keep meaning to get some of those too.
Oh goodness!
Just like totally bedazzled down the leg. I keep looking for some.
Yeah.
But Jason, you and Cory, y'all have a lot in common. Y'all are both play multiple instruments for your respective bands. That's kind of cool. Cory, how many instruments exactly do you play?
Let's see. With us right now, I'm playing trumpet and piano and harmonica. And there's a song on one of our records where I played the bass. That was when we were in between bass players, and I don't know. Somehow I ended up on the record playing the bass. and then Mark played the rest of the record because he's a much better bass player.
And you guys go in the studio. I mean, it's all it's the actual band in the studio recording the songs, right? It's
Yeah, for sure.
Like I don't know what I was going to ask about that. I don't know what I was going to ask. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, we're definitely a band in every sense of the word.
Right.
So, and it's been that was kind of the vibe from the onset. It was like when Josh was getting people, like he had all these songs written, and they're, you know, we all heard them on like these little demos, and they're like, these are great. And he's kind of recruiting guys and come make this record. And eventually, you know, initially that's all it was going to be, is we were going to make a record and play 1 to maybe 2 shows, like release shows for the record, you know, and then call it a day, go back to our other bands and whatever. But when we were like, okay, we made the record and we heard it, and we were like, we're going to do this. But if we're going to do this, we're a band. Like, we're not just like the session guys on this record, and then we, you know, are hired guns. Like, we're going to be like your actual band, and we're all going to have like equal rights of everything. And we're all going to, you know, everyone commits. Like, if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. If we're getting rich, we're all getting rich. If what happened on our first tour happened, where we had no money in the bank, and then we had a flat tire, everybody had to chip in $60 to get the tire. So it's like, we all suffer if we all suffer equally. But if it's going successful, everyone gets an equal share of that too. So
yeah,
that was a day one thing where like, we're going to do this like as a real ass like band.
Yeah. Do you guys write songs like from scratch together, or does it always like somebody brings something to the table?
No, Josh brings songs to the table, and they're great. He's a great songwriter. Then we practice them, and I think that's where we take them to the next level, because everyone has such different influences. Like people played in like, you know, metal bands and punk bands and folk bands and bluegrass bands, and you know, everyone has such weird taste, and we all try to bring our own little influences, and we all like write our little parts and try to fit them together. And it can get weird sometimes, but it doesn't really, like I said, it doesn't really sound like anyone else, I don't think so.
First question, the hell?
From Clayton Smith. He's
Hell
here.
Yeah.
So.
If Clayton's questions at all involve why we haven't fixed the theme song, well, I'm sorry, we haven't yet, Clayton.
But the song is great. We really appreciate the song. It is awesome. Yeah.
No,
that wasn't the song that we heard at the beginning of the.
No, that's the old one. That's just like an intro to one of my songs. But we have like a legit "Let's Freaking Do This" theme song that Clayton like made up and sent us. We just I haven't fixed it. I've been very lazy about this podcast.
Damn. Yeah, I was telling Justin before we logged on, I was like, Clayton just made us a theme song for our podcast that me and Travis do as well, and I'm so fucking pumped about it. We haven't got to use it yet because we haven't made an episode, but man, I'm stoked to make the next one, because like, I think people are gonna be jazzed when they hear it. It's really fucking cool. Oh yeah, there's our podcast, Ameri-Kinda.
So that was the name of your first record also, and it's kind of also what y'all kind of describe your music. Is that correct? Kind of like the term that y'all given it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate.
And how long have you been doing the podcast for?
So it's gone through a few different iterations. We used to do a version of it on this radio station called Gimme Country, and it was a little different then because they wanted us to play a lot of music and then not talk very much. So the show would be like it would be 2 hours, and then, you know, we'd play an hour and 40 minutes of music and talk for 20 minutes. And whenever they went bankrupt or whatever happened to them, they just kind of ditched us. And then a month or two later, they were like, their station doesn't exist anymore. And me and Travis were like, you know, we kind of been missing this. And so we started doing it again. And somebody told me about Spotify for podcasters or whatever. Like, you can really just do this yourself on your phone. It takes like 5 minutes. And showed me how to do it. And I was like, oh, fuck. And now it's on. And we just started doing them. But now they're like 3 hours long, and it's like 2 hours of talking. So they're pretty off the rails now. And it's you can get them more than one place. That was another thing with this app, is like, you can only listen to them on this one specific app, and only at a certain time of day, and only if you pay money or whatever. And now it's just like, we're everywhere, and listen to it whenever the fuck you want. So, and we don't, we can say, they kind of let us say what we want, but now we can like really say what we want. So sometimes we go too far and tell some stories we shouldn't tell. And, I don't know how to edit, so I just leave them in.
Yeah. That's funny, because it's like you're just kind of hanging out, having a conversation, and especially once you've released it out there, like, I mean, I think we all have good hearts, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we do. I think we do. But, when we're just hanging and talking, shit flies, like it just flies out your mouth sometimes. And it's not something you would necessarily get on TikTok and make a video and say the same thing,
Yeah. We just click the little explicit button. We're like, surely kids aren't listening. We're fine.
Right.
Yeah. Also, it's like, we're so low rent. We're just holding my phone up in like a green room.
I was about to ask you that.
Well, so like people's, like, me and Travis had this conversation earlier today. He's like, I was like, maybe we should do, if we get more guests on, we can do something more professional, and we have like mics and headphones, whatever. And he's like, I think if people saw a mic in front of their face, like, I got a mic here, you got mics, headphones, like we're sitting down doing a thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think if people saw that when we're trying to talk, like, their guard's a little more up, they're not saying the shit they're going to say. He's like, everyone has their phone out all the fucking time, just on whatever apps. Like, everyone's got a phone in their hand at all times. It's like, just you having that phone in your hand, nobody thinks twice about it. And like, people have said some off the rail shit on our podcast because their guard's down and they're not thinking about it.
Yeah.
And one thing we ask all of our guests to do is tell a story about the most recent time they shit their pants, and everyone does it. So like, I don't know if that would happen if we had a mic in front of our face.
Now gotta say, it's been a while.
I'm trying to remember the last time.
Well, don't say them out loud, because like we might need you on our show to.
Yeah, we'll put. I was gonna say,
Jason, save it for their podcast.
I'll save my best crapping in my pants stories for Ameri-Kinda.
It'll give you time to think. I know we have a show, you and I, together, that's not announced, and we probably can't say it out loud.
I don't know what we can say and what we can't. Nobody tells me I can't say stuff, so.
Right. That's another thing we do on our podcast. Accidentally announce shows too early and stuff. And then we're like, well, I don't think our manager's listening. Let's just fucking do it.
Better to ask for.
When we do unspecified date together, maybe we can do an episode of the thing together.
That's what I'm saying. We're gonna get you on. You're gonna have to tell us a shit story. So okay, that'll give you a couple months to think of one.
That'll also give me a couple months to shit my pants.
There you go. To make a new one. Yeah,
a new story.
I mean, obvious question, but have you ever had it happen? Like, you're like, it's happening right now. It's like it's live.
It's live.
Yeah, it's
on the podcast. That's next level. Like,
groundbreaking. Yeah,
is that meta? Is that what that is? Like meta? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you put it on Threads or Facebook or Instagram, it could be meta.
Oh,
right?
Dang it!
So, yep, I know.
Dang it!
Meta owns everything.
There we go.
There we go. No, speaking of Bowling for Soup, has the Jaret Ray Reddick band played with Vandoliers yet?
Yeah, we did one the other day at Oklahoma on a football field, and
yeah, that was fun. That was a fun one. It was that Dylan Warika where we played. It was like a fundraiser for their school, and they set up the stage on the football field.
Did we raise money for the school, or did the school lose money?
I don't know the answer to
Are we
that.
allowed to say?
I mean, again, nobody tells me not to say anything, so
Yeah.
I think that there was something said about a what's the word? I don't know, a sponsor or something like that, like a person who was like bankrolling it. So I don't know if it was the kind of thing where the person's like, we're gonna have this concert and I'm also gonna donate money to the school. I don't know, but they all seemed happy about how it all worked out, like they all seemed thrilled. So
Yeah.
and they fed us like 3 times and it was a fantastic food.
Yeah, we were backstage, me and Travis, listening to like the Nixons play and then doing like a podcast in the van. And we're just like, I think we are stealing money from the school right now. Like trying to like guess how much money each band was making. Like, then we're like, here's how much tickets are. Here's how many people here. I think, are we doing something bad?
Yeah. Is this immoral to play a show?
Are we costing this school money?
Yeah, again, I think that it had to have been some kind of thing like that where there was like a somebody funding it or something because we had fastball there.
Yeah,
It's
fucking
like
fastball.
So I thought that was, but it was fun. It was fun for me.
I had a good time.
Fun.
Yeah.
I love the Nixons. Like my wife is a bigger fan of the Nixons than me, but I've always loved the Nixons.
They were hard. They were rocking hard.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen them. They're great.
Yeah.
Cory, what's your kind of your background with like the North Texas sound, or just, I mean, have you lived in North Texas most of your life or all your life?
Yeah, all my life. Yeah.
Like, like bands like Bowling for Soup, obviously the Nixons were, I mean, they're from Oklahoma, but they played in Dallas a ton. So what's your experience like with those kind of bands? Are those kind of like not what you were listening to when you were kind of coming up, or?
Oh no, it totally was. I was really into like grunge and all that. So I was just listening to 94.5 The Edge when that was a thing.
Yep.
And anything that was on there, I was just like totally into. So, Weezer, big into that. A lot of the pop punk stuff, into that. But yeah, a lot of the grunge stuff, especially Soundgarden, huge fan. Alice in Chains, that kind of stuff. So, I don't know how that transitions into like weird country, but I'm sure that's in there somewhere.
What were you doing before the Vandoliers? What kind of bands were you in before? Because you mentioned that you guys had kind of come together as like a project almost, and then, but you had other bands that you were in, right?
Yeah, before Vandos, I was in this band called Whiskey Folk Ramblers, and Mark was in it, our bass player, but he played lead guitar in it. And then before he was our bass player, the bass player we had was the bass player from that band. So Josh kind of like took that whole band as his band, kind of, you know. And that singer hated us because of that. And we were not on good terms for a while. I think he was just really mad that Josh took all of his bandmates. Before that, I was doing this band called Mount Righteous, which is like a polka punk marching band kind of thing. So there was like a fluctuating number of people, but anywhere from like 9 to like 12 people.
Right.
A guy playing like the quads, and like a guy playing the bass drum, and a guy playing like a marching snare, and then we had a trombone and a sousaphone, and I mean we had all kinds of shit, guitars, and that was really fun. And that was the first band that I was in where we like toured really hard and like went to, we'd do like 3 weeks on the West Coast and 3 weeks on the East Coast, and then I was just like, this is such a cool way to see the country. Like I'm really like into this. So that's where I was like, I need to be in a band that tours because I really dig this.
Yeah.
And when that kind of wound down, a month or something later, a couple months later, the Whiskey Folks trumpet player quit, and it was just like really good timing, I guess, that a lot of those people had dated a lot of people in the other band too, so those bands were really close already. So in fact, 2 of them got married, which is really funny. Anyway, I ended up just getting to be in that band, and then segueing that into Vando. But like I said, I played trumpet in all 3 of those bands, so
Okay.
It wasn't that weird to me putting the trumpet in the Vando context, because we'd already been doing kind of country stuff with the trumpet in that other band.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the feeling of the trumpet being pretty unique is only there when you think about Vandoliers from the country perspective. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
because
Like
you
there's
mentioned,
ska touches and stuff, and like there's a lot of
right,
horns and ska music, and
right,
there's horns in mariachi music, and there's horns and all these other things that we touch on, like blues and 80s rock and all the different things. There's horns and stuff. Like
yeah,
it's just the context that you're hearing it in, I think.
yeah. I mean, there's country, like you said, you brought up Ring of Fire with the trumpets and stuff. Like there's like a song or two that people do, but I think it works really well with what you guys do. Of course, you're also playing keys too, so.
And that's just like I get bored if I'm just, every song doesn't need a trumpet, or else you'll get bored of it. And then I don't like to just stand there doing nothing. So I'm like, I gotta be busy. So, the band I was in before, was like, if I wasn't doing something, I was like, I'm grabbing a tambourine or a drum or something where I'm like still moving around and doing something where I'm like, feel like I'm participating. Yeah. Or else I'm just like standing on stage while other guys are playing, going, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm not contributing anything.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that's that's the life of a multi-instrumentalist. Is just like, I'm just going to preoccupy myself, so I feel like I'm pulling some kind of weight here.
Well, you're a part of a 6-piece, which, maybe the bands you grew up with or playing in, like that was probably just kind of, you'll have a ton of people in the bands, but like, most like country, especially like rock bands, what is it, 4 or 5 people max usually, right? So like to have 6 people, there's a lot going on. Like just watching y'all on stage, like there's a lot happening. You're putting a lot of sound out there.
Yeah, that's the thing that took us a long time to learn, especially if you listen to our first record. There's just like everyone's playing at all times, and there's just chaos happening, and it's you miss, like, this guy's playing a cool lick, but you don't even hear it because this guy over here is playing something competing. And we had so many conversations over the years of like, every time we'd be getting ready to go to the studio, just like, how do we play less and how do we listen to each other more? Mm-hmm. And we'd go to the bar after rehearsal, and just that would be the main topic of conversation. And then we'd go into the studio and make a record, and like, we kind of did it, but we were all playing way too much. And on this most recent record we did, I mean, we talked about it till we were blue in the face. And we're like, when we were going to do pre-pro, it's like, everyone try like not to fucking play.
Yeah.
And or when you do play, try to play like as least notes as possible. Do the simplest parts. Like, everyone knows you're a good guitar player. Everyone knows you're a good fiddle player. Like, that's established. You don't have to like prove yourself anymore. Just play one note here and then drop out for half the song. Like, that's fine. Mm-hmm. Just be confident in the fact that like you added something cool when it needed to. And then it's harder to know when not to play than when to play. Like,
I was about to say that
it's such a harder skill not to play than to play sometimes. So
yeah. And I can also hear that would, I mean, I know from experience that's good. That's something that if you're just recently jumping into something like that, you can't just jump in and then immediately know this, how to pull back and like, or at least it's hard for me. Like if I jump in just with some random band and I can play along, but if I've got like another, for example, like if I'm playing with somebody who plays steel, or
Yeah.
a lead guitar player, and I'm playing fiddle with them, you know, like unless we can really lock eyes on like who's gonna play when, like it's you got to feel it out, and it's gonna almost always be times at least when you're playing over each other.
And it's cool, like if you can work it out, and then like you're doing little harmonies or call and response things, or
Right.
I don't know. Sometimes the parts get really busy though, and it's just it can take away from the song. So
Yep.
I think we finally got pretty close to on this last record of everybody playing really basic parts. Like, I mean, easy stuff to play. Like there's songs where I'm playing like 3 notes, and it's just like bang, bang, bang. That's it. And it's just like that's exactly what that thing needed. And then I just got out for 2 verses and didn't do anything. Like, and just feel confident that the right thing happened, and I can just stand over here for a second.
And you know what you could do is in those moments, you could actually start working on your TikTok videos.
Right. That gives us time to like, get a drink and then take your shirt off and do the. It's like if I don't play on the second verse, I can go stand on Travis's side of the stage and then do a dance move. Like,
Yeah.
There you go.
But it takes 3 or 4 records to figure that out, I think.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the latest album, which is the self-titled The Vandoliers. Well, it's not totally self-titled because you're adding the to it. But that's something I want to ask you. Did you ever go by The Vandoliers, or has it always just been Vandoliers?
Always just been just Vandoliers.
Vandoliers, okay.
Yeah.
I think that I always prepend it with the.
Yeah.
Because it's like, the Nixons, like it's just, I don't know. I just stick it on there. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's how you say it in conversation. But like if you saw that sentence written out, the would be lowercased.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like it's not the Beatles, it's just Beatles, right? Or is it the
I
Beatles?
think they are the Beatles. Yeah,
they're
they're
okay.
the.
So terrible example. Terrible example.
Way to go, Justin. Do some music research next
There we
time.
go.
Okay?
Yeah.
Every episode you have to research the Beatles.
Turnpike Troubadours. They're just Turnpike Troubadours. But
There
if
we
you're
go.
talking about them, you're gonna go, yeah, I saw this band, the Turnpike Troubadours.
That's
you're gonna
true.
it just says you just say it, but they're not a the.
Yeah. So
That's
except for their 4th record, which is the Turnpike Troubadours with the added the in it. Like that's where we stole that from.
So the 4th record, you had the article to the title. Yeah. What's you said you thought this the record kind of was the one where you kind of figured out the combination and put it all together. It's been out for about a year now. How is the record done? I mean, is it something like obviously you're proud of because there's a lot of work that went into it, right? It's like 3 or 4 years of effort. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We were almost done making it. And it was March of 2020. So like there was like news articles coming out like, oh, COVID's going to be a thing. And everybody's like, is it? I don't know. They're going to figure this out in a week or whatever, canceled the show. And then we're like, that's probably the only show we're going to have to cancel. Like thing. Cancel another show, end up canceling the entire rest of the year,
Yeah.
But and canceled the last couple days of recording and had to come back and finish those. And then, then you're sitting on the record for a year trying to figure out when to put it out. And you don't want to put it out if you're not going to tour it. And then we just sat on it too long. And we're like, let's start tinkering with it some more and change all the artwork and like add some more songs and take some songs away and redo some stuff. And so, yeah, we tinkered on it for a while. And it came out much better. I'm glad we did. I don't say that as a complaint at all. Like the songs that needed to be on there are on there. And the ones that I would like skip when I was like listening to the demos in the car, like those are not on it anymore. So
is there a lesson learned from that? Like for the next time you go in, like what do you do differently going in now that you had that experience of coming out with something better after you sat on it for a while?
I mean, we're always really good at sitting on stuff because we don't just put stuff out to put stuff out kind of thing. Even like our first music video, I think was like, we had like 10 fans or something. It didn't matter if we just put a music video out. We're like, let's find this like opportunity and like sit on it for like 6 months or whatever. I don't know why we were that way, but we've always been that way. And every time we wait for something better comes. So it's always worked out. And like this record, we found someone to help us financially put it out and let us do it. Like that helped us create our own record label. So I don't know. It was like we self put it out, but we had some funding, and then it's done well enough that I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago we recouped it. So like
nice. Oh yeah, I saw those posts. I forgot about that.
Everything's paid back. Yeah. So
yeah.
I would say very successful. First time we recouped a record. It's a good feeling to know that like we're a good investment for someone. Give us money and we'll get your money back plus interest.
Yeah.
So that's a good feeling.
And then everything that you make on the record after that, you can, I don't know, buy new trumpets with or something.
Yeah. Taco Bell and Red Bull. That's
Taco Bell and Red Bull. Hence the conversation about shit in your pants.
Shit in your pants. Yeah.
That's it.
Or sponsors also. Let's try to keep it, on the positive side here.
They are definitely sponsors of shit in your pants. That's for sure.
Well, yeah. Exactly. But Cory, a little bit ago, you mentioned like Turnpike Troubadours, and we were talking about Bowling for Soup earlier. And I know y'all have a big tour coming up with Flog and Molly, and you played with them before, and you played like with the old 97s and Toadies. What's it been like playing with like some of these like established acts that you probably listened to as you were kind of growing up and becoming a musician? What's it like now sharing this, being on the road with these bands and playing these shows and just that whole experience?
It's been a trip. Because like I also feel like we're not just like some opening band that's like oh, they're just lucky to be there. Like they got thrown onto this thing, and like the headliners don't even know them they're on it, and some suit put this show together kind of thing. It's like we've been playing like 150 shows a year for whatever 8 years. Like we kind of like earned a spot in a way where like when we show up, these bands are like, dude, they treat us, I don't want to say like totally as peers, but kind of that way. Like there's like, I don't know. It feels really weird to say that because I grew up listening to old 97s, and all of a sudden like, their drummer like texts me memes like every day now, and it's like that's really weird and awesome. Like every time I see one, I'm like, that's pretty crazy. Like this guy you idolized for 20 years is like sending you memes on Instagram. Like it's a trip.
I have a similar experience to that.
Yeah, you do.
But I was gonna say like the other was it last weekend, weekend before, whatever, we were just getting in the van or whatever, and Rob was telling Jaret, he's like, man, I can't wait for this tour and for the Vandoliers to just kick everybody's ass.
Hell yeah. I can't wait for that. Yeah, that Euro tour we're doing with the Bowling for Soups. Like I'm really excited about that one.
Yeah. And you guys went over there. When did you guys go over there? You went over there before, like was it once? Just once? Or?
We've been to the UK only once, and then we went to mainland or the rest of the other part of Europe twice.
Europe.
Yeah. So
yeah, okay. I remember seeing the pictures from the European shows that you guys did over there, which was pretty. It looked like it was pretty successful. I mean,
yeah,
there's
such a different audience too. Like they'll do these like 1 or 2 band bills, sometimes just 1 band bill. Like this building's open for an hour. Like they're not trying to get you in there like drinking for 8 hours or whatever, like we do over here. Like doors at 3, the band's playing at like 8 or whatever, Yeah. And then there's gonna be 5 bands, so you stay till 2. And then so everyone's there specifically to see the music. So they get there, at doors or whatever, right. So that when the doors open, everyone's there. It's packed by the time the band plays.
Mhm.
Everyone came to see the band. So it's just like everyone's in the pit, eyes on you, like focused, listening, like listening hard, interacting. And it's like the show is the main thing, like the drinking secondary. I feel like a lot of people go out in America. It's like, let's get fucked up and watch this band. Like,
Right.
which, no complaints. I don't, that's just a different approach, and it's valid as well.
Especially the country scene here.
Yeah.
It's like they really push that aspect of it, the bar sales and everything. But I've always, I've never even visited the UK. So, but I've always had the impression that, like, from what I see and hear about bands who are successful there, it's always struck me that it just seems like the audiences there just like genuinely appreciate the music. In a very, it just seems like that. I don't know. Maybe we're spoiled on it in America, and they're just like, when they get bands like Vandoliers over there, they're just gonna eat it up. I don't know.
I think there's some to that. So we made an episode of our podcast about a year ago, and like we try to theme the music around whatever's going on in our lives that day. So like we tried to play like 2 hours of country songs where like all the bands were from Europe, like European country bands.
Oh yeah.
And it was really hard to find 2 hours of songs that were like good and that were also European country bands. Like there were some, like, don't get me wrong, but like I could see why, like, when good country music is over there, everybody's like, yes, give me more of that. Cause like they don't get as much, or not to sound like a conceited asshole or whatever, but I could see why they appreciate it. And the fact is they do, like, it comes and they don't take it for granted.
Well, your band's pretty awesome too. So like whether
I appreciate you
in the UK or here in the US, people should come out and see y'all. And
we always like it when there's people at the show, for sure.
Yeah, it's good.
I mean, you would play by yourself, but that would be pretty boring.
Yeah, we've done it before. We've done it many times, but
I guess if you're getting paid for it, you might as well play the show. But
yeah.
But I think that y'all got a big tour coming up, and I think that they're all going to play in front of other people. It seems like
probably be some people there.
So what are your expectations for this big Flogging Molly tour?
So we did a tour with them about a year and a half ago, and it was awesome. Their fans are great. They have a lot of young folks that come to their shows, and everyone's just like really into it the whole time, like doing mosh pits, circle pitting. People were circle pitting to us, which had never happened before. So like that was a trip. And I think there's this thing that we do where it's like, sometimes we play these shows where like no one's heard of us, or like the odds are stacked against us in some way, where like there's a chip on our shoulder. I think we kind of carry that into this one because it's like we're opening for a hardcore band and then another punk band, like, and then we're going to try to do that with country songs, and everyone's going to be looking at us as soon as we walk out in our little cowboy hats, like, fuck these guys. And we come out like with knowing that intensity's on us, we're like, fuck no. And then our shows are so much tighter, so much faster and louder and just like intense when we have to like turn it on in those situations. And we always like rise to the occasion for whatever reason. And it's going to be a lot of that. I think these venues we're playing on this run are bigger than some of the ones we played on the last run we did with them. So I expect it to be twice as intense. Just a lot more of that, like, well, we've got something to prove because we're the country band on a punk bill.
Yeah. And you got 3 dates in Texas there. I might have to hit that San Antonio one if I don't have anything else going on that on my calendar that night.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, we'll be out for 2 months. We're like out a week before this tour starts, and then this tour is like 7 or 8 weeks, and then like we're in Dallas for like a day right in the middle.
Uh-huh.
And like we've already like booked a hotel like in Richardson. We're like, so everyone's not like, I'm gonna go home for the day, and then like, oh, where's everyone? They're not back in the bus at Van Gogh. They're all in their own beds.
Y'all are on this whole tour, right? Every day on it.
All but a couple of them. We're not doing the Alaska show because that's logistically impossible.
Yeah.
Like, they're taking flights, and it's like a 24-hour like thing that you have to do in like less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
So they're flying and whatnot. But us in the Bronx just picked up a date, like on that date, somewhere in Washington. But we're not doing that show, or there's like a festival in Chicago and a festival in maybe Kentucky, I think, that we're not on, but the rest of the dates we're on all of them. I think we're on like 30 shows or something. So
yeah. Sounds like fun.
In 2 months or in 7 or 8 weeks. That's a lot of shows. So
yeah.
Yes, sir.
And then I think y'all have some, like you said, I think you have some shows before the tour starts, right?
Yeah. So maybe it's 4 or so. One's a festival. We're doing the Braun Brothers thing that we've never gotten to do before in Idaho. And then there's a couple things in Montana and somewhere else. And then we link up with them in like Denver or somewhere.
Yeah. So y'all are going to be all over the place, just playing shows. There we go. I get that.
Oh yeah, Montana. That's where they all are.
And so another country I've never been to.
Another country.
Montana's great. There's like 10 people that live there, but the rest of it's fucking gorgeous. It's one of the definitely prettiest parts of the country. It's super beautiful.
Yeah, I have a friend who works there, or who lives there. A friend that I used to work with. Anyway, she lives there, and she would always send pictures of, because like you just open the door, and where she lives at least, and she opened the door, and it's the mountains, and in the winter, it's just snow-covered peaks and trees and everything. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah, the other thing is Idaho is it's touching, Montana, and a lot of Idaho looks like that, and no one knows about it. Like everyone thinks about Idaho as being like a potato farm or something. I don't know what I always say, I've said this in many interviews, it's the most underrated state, like by far. It's really gorgeous, and no one ever talks about it. It's kind of wild. There's like a tip of Yellowstone that is in Idaho. Like no one knows this. Like I don't know. It's beautiful. So super green mountains.
How much is the state of Idaho paying you to say these things?
I was like, you could probably vacation there pretty cheap.
Yeah. What was it? The tourist, whatever of Idaho.
The Vandoliers are sponsored by Idaho. Y'all would take it, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So nothing bad about Idaho, right?
Yeah, I got nothing bad to say about Idaho. I've always had a great.
So you've got the Bowling for Soup tour that you're playing in the UK with Less Than Jake. That's next year. But then you'll also have a date with them in October in Lubbock as a part of the Getting Old Sucks tour for Bowling for Soup. I haven't seen y'all play with Bowling for Soup yet, but I would imagine that Vandoliers and Bowling for Soup is kind of like peanut butter and jelly. It's like a perfect combination for a show bill.
Yeah, it's a really fun show, and their fans are great, and they're that cool thing where it's like the energetic the punk crowd, but not the intimidating one that we sometimes played with other punk bands. They're like super friendly and welcoming.
They're the happy, nice punk crowd.
They're super happy, yeah. So they're like really energetic and into whatever's happening. They're stoked and having a great time. So like they're a really easy audience to play for, and it's great. You can get them to do all your little moves and stuff, and all your like call and response. We do like a lot of crowd interaction stuff.
Yeah.
And like they'll all do it, And sometimes with these like rock or country crowds, a lot of the country crowds will do it. But you play with these people. Sometimes you're like, everybody hands in the air, and like one guy's hands in the air, and everybody else is just like looking around, like,
Yeah.
You're like, okay, cool, fuck me.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're very into it. They're a great audience, so we love playing with Bowling Pursuit.
Very cool. And then I guess maybe you're going to be playing with the Jaret Ray Reddick band also, apparently, according to potential breaking news on the story that we can't, or on the show that we can't really count as breaking news. But yeah.
Yeah, we have a show coming up. I just can't say how many months it is from now, but it's this year.
And neither could I, because I don't remember.
You're not a trusted source of information. Yeah.
No, I'm not.
It's between now and December. That narrows it down a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many months left. So
anyway. what people should do is just basically go to every Jaret Ray Reddick and every Vandoliers show between now and then,
one day
just
they'll
to
be
make
the
sure
same
they
show,
don't miss it. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have the team up, like the crossover, like superheroes
That's
or
it.
whatever. You just got to keep following the storyline. It's like the MCU of music festivals or concerts. You just got to keep with it. Cory, it's been great to have you on the show. We really appreciate your time. It's been
super fun.
Yeah, as we're kind of getting out of here, let's get your plugs out there. Tell us all about the Vandoliers, where people can find stuff, website, your podcast. Like I was saying
earlier, the cool thing of making up a word is you get just Vandoliers at everything. You don't have to do the @music or @band or @live or @real. It's just Vandoliers.com, Twitter @Vandoliers, Instagram @Vandoliers. Everything is just @Vandoliers. Our email is forever@Vandoliers.com. Like everything is just @Vandoliers. And like I said, me and our fiddle player do a podcast. It's called Ameri-Kinda. But if you go on Spotify and you just type in Vandoliers, it'll be in there somewhere. So we're pretty easy thing to Google. Unlike a lot of these punk bands that come around now, you're like, how am I going to find this?
Or a rapper, symbols and numbers in your name.
Or like that band X. It's like, cool, I just typed the word X into what's coming up in my Google search. It's all porn. I don't know, And now it's the old Twitter
media.
Now. Yeah.
You type in the letter X into your X app. Come on, man. Like, this is very simple. Yeah.
I type the word, the letter X, and then it starts autofilling, and I make sure no one else is in the room.
Because definitely what you want to do is when you overspend by 30 or 40 billion for for a name that was made up, that was very popular, that was identified, that had a brand, what you definitely want to do is you want to rename it to a letter because that's good business sense. So I'm just saying, I don't own a Tesla, but I don't think I would own a Tesla. And if you ever do a deal with Elon Musk, get cash.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Because, not sure
they're talking about how
the
X app, like maybe it can be your new bank. And, people are like, I don't know if I want that to be my bank. And I'm like, if they're doing credit cards, maybe I'll rack up a balance on there. Like, I don't have confidence that, they know how to come get that from me.
I totally agree. What I've heard is there's an app in China that's called WeChat or We something. And it's like an all-purpose app where it's like social media, but like you can do banking and you can get your streaming content on there. And it's like, there is no way that'll happen over here. Like, no. I mean, not for 50 years or something. And who knows if the world's going to last that long, but we hope it does, because we hope that people can listen to the Vandoliers for 50 more years. Check out our podcast.
Nice segue.
Good recovery. Yeah.
There we go.
The end of the world, but no, I'm bringing it back around. Now, Cory, it's great to have you on the show. We really appreciate your time.
It's great. Yeah, thanks for having. I'm glad we got to do this.
Yeah. Jason, anything you want to add to this?
Not really. I'm glad that we had the time to talk to you, Cory, and I look forward to talking about shitting in my pants on your podcast whenever it happens. And I don't know. We got some Jaret Ray Reddick shows this week.
Hell yeah.
One in DeLeon, Texas.
I've been there many times, driven through there many times. Small. That's a small town. Now, what's his? That
is a small town.
Yeah. I wonder if Jason Aldean will be in DeLeon, because that is a very small town. Yeah.
Anyway, we're also playing in Abilene.
Not a small town. That's a
Not a
decent-sized
small town.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's about it. Abilene. So De Leon on Friday, if anybody knows where that is, and then Abilene on Saturday at the Zone.
The Zone.
That should be a cool show. So
yeah, I think so. It's gonna be great. My brother's gonna be there, so
that's cool. So let's do our plugs real quick. We're on Instagram. We're still on Twitter or whatever it's called, X, whatever. We're at LFDT Pod. Of course, LFDT stands for Let's Freaking Do This. And we're also on Facebook, but I don't even know. It's like Let's Freaking Do This podcast.com/something or whatever. So, but we're on Facebook, so you can find us there. And we just want to once again thank Cory for joining us. And hey, we want to thank you if you're watching this now or later on YouTube. Please do us a favor, like this video, subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out, and we really appreciate it. Hey, and if video isn't your thing, you can also check us out on podcast platforms like Spotify and Pocket Cast. So please check us out there, rate and review, subscribe, all that good stuff. We appreciate it. So for Cory Graves, for Jason, I'm Justin saying thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a good night. See you next time.